What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another one of my videos. This one is going to be covering the new Halo Infinite details that we got from the new Ask 343 in the middle of April in the community update. Now I'm just going to go over what I thought was really important and just list the things that I think you guys would want to know. If you guys are willing to check out the full video, it is a 30-minute interview, but without further ado, let's start with the first thing of note. So the first thing they talked about that I thought was cool was the sound of the plasma pistol hum coming back, because of course they've been blending a lot of old and new with Halo Infinite, and definitely looking back at the series past and its roots to go on ahead and come up with new ideas, including in sound design. So they said that the plasma pistol hum is back, but it has different stages. So charging up, you'll get a different sound. When it's at full capacity charge, you'll get that nice little familiar hum, and there's like a crackling plasma sound. It all sounds, they went into a lot of detail. It all sounds really cool. Then they went on and talked more about the threat prioritization system, in which you'll hear different tiered sounds. So the highest level of threat to you, the player, is the loudest sound that you guys will hear, and then other enemies will be the second loudest sound, and for example, teammates, they would be lowest compared to those other two things, because those aren't a threat to you. While talking about multiplayer, they also mentioned footsteps and how you will have a different sounding footstep compared to enemies and also your teammates. So you will be able to differentiate the sound between your footsteps, teammates' footsteps, and of course, the most important, enemy footsteps. Now we know that Halo Infinite will feature some sort of damaged state for vehicles, so you could shoot off the tires on the Warthogs, you could shoot off wings on aerial vehicles, and they will perform different. They will also sound different. 343 also noted that there is some sort of doomsday alarm inside the vehicles to let you know exactly when you need to bail out and get out of that vehicle before it explodes, and they said it sounds really cool. There will be intro music in multiplayer and at the end of rounds, but leading up to the end of the game too, there could be some hype music playing in the background in case you come up with a clutch flag capture before the end of the game. They said there'll be some sort of music to kind of fit that kind of moment. And they also noted that there is far less music than you might expect in the multiplayer side of things, but that it is quite different stylistically in the direction that they were taking. Now, something that was asked that I'm surprised they even gave an answer on was if there would be any kind of customization when it comes to the multiplayer announcer. We know that Jeff Steitzer is coming back, but people wanted to know if there would be something featured like the Voices of War rec pack that was in Halo 5 that let you customize the announcers in multiplayer. And 343 said no, that won't be in Halo Infinite. And they didn't even say, hey, this could come down the road or this could come post-launch. They just said no, it's not in Halo Infinite. Who knows, maybe we still get one down the road, because Halo 5 got one down the road in a rec pack, and if that was successful and did well, then 343 would probably do it again, but we'll just have to wait and see. But this was a two-part question. They also asked about Reach Firefight voices and how they love that, and they were hoping Infinite would feature something like that, and 343 basically went on and said they're not ready to talk about that quite yet, but they have some cool things on that front that they're working on. So we already know Halo Infinite features Reach level customization. That is a feature from Reach, but they might be able to take it to the next level and not only have something like that in some Firefight or whatever kind of wave-based or whatever kind of PvE mode that you can customize your voice in, but maybe even bring that into multiplayer and have your Spartan have a customizable voice in multiplayer as well. When talking about the soundtrack, they actually answered my question, which was, will there be any kind of somber tracks in the original soundtrack? Because in the last Inside Infinite update, they said that they would have a lot of more hopeful tracks on the original soundtrack. And personally, I like the more depressing sounding songs. I think they're a little bit more emotional as far as impact, like Heavy Price Paid. And they said, yes, there will still be some emotional stuff in Halo Infinite, especially when it comes to certain characters. And they said they're really not ready to share anything yet, but that we will feel the gut punches with certain things, and the music will definitely reflect that. And that gets me really excited, because I think that was something definitely missing Halo 5, and I really would like Halo Infinite to feature more emotional impact. They also talked about the music and how it will be adaptive in the campaign. So depending on what you're doing as the player, that's how the music is going to be reflected. So you could be exploring and then find yourself in the middle of a battle, and the music will reflect that. Instead of maybe you just going straight into battle, instead of exploring going right to the objective, the music will change based on that as well. They also said depending on where you are in the main story, that's where the music will change as well, because they want to keep things fresh for you. So the further you progress in the story, the music will change depending on what areas you're in, which is really cool. Now, speaking from a content creation standpoint, if you're a streamer or make YouTube videos, they said the intention is for Halo Infinite music to be DMCA free, so you won't get copyright strikes, which is music to my ears as a content creator. They said that is the intention. Obviously, they can't guarantee something like that. Also, when you are in a different room, they said that you could still hear sounds in other rooms, but they'll definitely be more muffled so that it won't be distracting. But that's very interesting that you could be going on in a battle in one room and maybe hear wildlife outside or something, or whatever's going on in multiplayer. You could hear gunshots in a different room. They even talked about the objectives having their own 3D audio as well. And we'll just have to wait and see when we actually play Halo Infinite how that sounds, because I'm really curious as to how the flag having its own positional audio in Halo Infinite plays out. I can't really wrap my head around how that would be something that I would need, but I'm all for it. And maybe they've come up with some really cool ideas as far as positional audio for objectives. Now, the last thing we're going to go over is how they came up with the sound for the battle rifle, because a lot of people, including myself, really like the sound of this BR in Halo Infinite. And I'm going to let the man who helped design it explain it, because he has some really cool things to say. Before we go on ahead and play that, I just want to thank you guys for watching the video, and I hope to catch you on either a previous video of mine or a future video of mine. Until that time comes, you won't hear any more from me in this video. I'm your boy Patman, and I'm out, but take a listen to this.
The inspiration behind the BR was the Halo 2 BR. I kind of used that as reference when designing the sound. The actual content was probably derived from multiple gun recordings that we did in the past. Probably the main one was the FN SCAR battle rifle, and also the FN M240B machine gun. I was able to kind of take different microphone recordings, textures from there, and kind of combine them. And then the actual like kind of punch and bass, that was from a recording I think we just did here in the Foley studio. We have this device that will pressurize air into like a 2-liter bottle essentially. And then if you puncture it with a projectile of like a certain velocity, it'll create a sonic boom, very low energy, because the bottle rips at supersonic speed. And so you kind of just get this really, tight, like, very dynamic impulse that comes out of it. And so if you kind of put that around different like resonant spaces, you just get some like really nice punchy impacts that you can incorporate into your designs. And then for the like actual tails and stuff like that, those are usually constructed from like many different recordings that we do. We'll record in like different fields and just different locations to kind of just get, really interesting reflections. And then we just kind of combine those all to just make something really convincing and satisfying.